panel of political experts and take your live phone calls only on KBLA Talk 1580. After Biden and Trump square off, we want you to sound off and tell us what you think. At KBLA Talk 1580, you can black talk us anytime.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program, or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavisSmileyShow.com. That's thetavisSmileyShow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, two conversations. Up first, two-time presidential appointee at the Small Business Administration, Cassius Butts, on the future of small black-owned businesses in America. On the B side of our two, financial wellness advocate, Dr. Tissa Silver Kennedy, with the latest on President Biden's student debt relief plan. The president continues to get pushback from the courts on this student debt relief plan. So we'll talk about that and where we are now on the B side of our two. In our third hour,
MoviePass, a subscription service, the Netflix for the movie theater.
It was the greatest thing ever.
MoviePass.
MoviePass.
The popular movie ticket app.
MoviePass. We remember them. Whatever happened to those guys?
We thought this could reinvigorate the movie-going business.
Any movie, any theater, any day.
I went to the movie theater 428 times.
MoviePass doubled the revenue in theaters.
We were worth $80 million plus.
We had a product that no one could stop.
Mitch was making a toast, and he said, "Mark my words, everyone's going to be rich."
They just spend.
Going to Coachella, partying with Big Boy, John Travolta.
They burned to $250 million. Whoa.
Meanwhile, there weren't extension cords to plug our computers into.
There were hundreds of thousands of customer service tickets.
A customer sent a box of to the office. I was like, we need to pump the brakes a little bit.
I just thought that it would be better if he wasn't a part of the team.
He's like the heart of MoviePass. The deeper you got in, the more you realized all of this was part of a bigger story.
A lot of times when you talk about MoviePass, you usually get a picture of Mitch and Ted, but that's definitely not the case.
It is an endless list of, oh my God, what is happening here?
Oh God, these old stories.
This is a company, not a family, and not all roles get to party.
Comes this.
The co-founder of MoviePass, the black co-founder of MoviePass, Stacey Spikes, on the HBO documentary MoviePass, Movie Crash, Corporate Accountability and Whether Black Artists Can Save Hollywood. We'll do that with Stacey in our third hour. But we commence today's show talking politics. It's Thursday, June 27th, which means that President Biden and former President Donald Trump are finally going to get at it today. I really shouldn't say finally, I guess, because this is the earliest presidential debate, the earliest presidential tete-a-tete that we have had in the history of our republic. I start by asking Dr. Nicolai-Corte, can this debate possibly, it reminds me of a major prize fight. As you know, I box. I'm a pugilist. And for those of you who are fight fans, you know there have been a plethora of fights down through history that just didn't match up to all the hype. I wonder, Nicolai-Corte, is it even remotely possible that this debate today could match up to all of the hype, sir?
Well, Tavis, let me just say it's a very high bar for all the Joe Frazier fans out there. I don't know if they're going to see Joe Frazier or Ali show up on the stage, and I don't know which candidate's going to be Frazier or Ali. But there will be millions of eyeballs on devices and on TV sets today, zeroing in to see, what these candidates have to offer. Look, the United States voters, are, a little grumpy and concerned, and, there's a lot of economic anxiety afoot. And so the question is, do either one of these candidates, do they offer some respite from the anxiety and some of these chaotic decisions that we're seeing coming out of the Supreme Court? Who are people willing to trust for the next 4 years? But also, Tavis, are people better off today than they were 4 years ago? I think these are some of the questions that will be on the mind of viewers. And let's see what Trump and Biden have to say.
Dr. Nicolai-Corte is the host on my home station in L.A., KBLA Talk 1580. He's the host of his own program every day called A More Perfect Union. He's also the chief national political affairs analyst for my home station in L.A., and he's also now our White House correspondent. He is now a member of the White House Correspondents Association, so he's now covering the White House for us back in Washington as well. When we come forward, we're bringing our friend Ruben Navarrete Jr., who is the most widely read Latino columnist in the nation, courtesy of his weekly column syndicated by the Washington Post Syndicate. So Nicolai and Ruben will help us move through this hour, talking about all kinds of politics, most principally the big debate today between Biden and Trump. But June is Black Music Month, and you know how we do it. Every day in the month of June, we pick a different artist. We feature their music all 3 hours of our program as we weave and bob in between these amazing conversations with some great guests on this program today. And we close today. I say close because it's my last chance. What's today's date? The 27th? What's Monday's date? Let me look right quick and make sure. Yeah, Monday is the, I'm so bad on dates these days. Monday's July 1st, yeah. So today's my last day. I want to just double check that. Today's my last day to bring you some music all 3 hours of our program as we celebrate June Black Music Month. And today we close with Marvin Gaye.
Mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Father, we don't need to escalate. See, war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Pick it light. Take it time, don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on. What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? What's going on?
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
If you've not been feeling yourself lately, if you have been trying to lose the same 20 pounds for 20 years, if your weight loss dreams have turned into weight gain nightmares, it's time perhaps for D-Herbs. D-Herbs Full Body Cleanse is a natural cleansing regimen that can help you lose 20 pounds in just 20 days. The Full Body Cleanse will also boost your immune system and improve your digestion. Summer is here. And now's as good a time as any to stop chasing those 20 pounds and propel yourself into a healthier lifestyle. To reboot your system and lose weight, just go to dherbs.com and order your full body cleanse or call 866-434-3727. If you mention Tavis at checkout, they will give you a discount. dherbs.com. Experience healing.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you can receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Looks like Bobby needs a ride again.
Grab the keys. Let's take our auntie to the swap meet. Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, do it all in a Chevy SUV. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Malibu, Colorado, Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Traverse limited models. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $2,860 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 15.8% plus finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take your retail delivery by 7/1/24.
Febreze.
Fabric Talk.
Hey, it's me, your couch. Today's my favorite day of the week. Febreze Fabric Spray Day. The occasional deep cleanse are nice, but in between, you know I'm needing a refresh. Ooh, here she comes with the Febreze Fabric Spray. Oh yeah, spritz them armrests. Don't be shy. Nothing like a good spray down to get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my back. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe happy. Febreze. La 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 la.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Ready to re-examine your assumptions and expand your inventory of ideas? More of Tavis Smiley coming your way right now.
Where did all the blue skies go? Poison is the wind that blows from the north and south and east. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be. No, no. Oil wasted on the oceans and upon our seas. Fish full of mercury.
Speaking of Marvin Gaye and the ecology, President Biden got a huge setback today on the environment. There's breaking news. The Supreme Court, as you know, every other day seems are releasing their decisions, their rulings of cases they've heard in this particular term. And the news is out now that the Supreme Court has blocked Biden's plan on air pollution. They have temporarily paused an EPA plan to curtail air pollution that drifts across state lines, dealing a major blow to the president. I must say this, President Biden has done quite well on environmental policy. If you talk to anybody in the environmental movement, we just were on C-SPAN for 3 hours, as you know, with our climate justice symposium, the first time the nation had ever seen a stage full of black people, nothing but black folk, talking about the urgency of now, climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. Here comes Marvin Gaye reminding us of the ecology and how important it is, which shows again how far ahead of his time Marvin Gaye was. It is the urgency of now, but Marvin was on it even back then. But today the Supreme Court has dealt the president another blow when it comes to environmental policy. Perhaps we'll get to some of that later in this hour. But how timely is it to be hearing that treatise from one Marvin Gaye. Ruben Everett Jr., I asked you the same question I asked Nick Quarterly to continue our conversation, and we'll jump from there. Is it possible in your mind that this debate today could possibly live up to all the pre-hype?
Brother Tavis, so good to be with you again and with the good doctor as well. Listening to Marvin Gaye, I can't be the only member of your listening audience who's swaying back and forth in my kitchen.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So as for the debate, I'll tell you, I think that there's going to be some surprises. Clearly, what's interesting about the way that these two candidates are prepping for the debate, it could not be more different. You know that there's a ton of folks, about 12 different folks coming in and out of Camp David to prep the president. He's been studying hard on this stuff. There's even a concern among Biden supporters that they may be overloading him, that they may be putting too much into his head, and that they need to just sort of let Biden be Biden. You hear that a lot. Trump, on the other hand, doesn't study. He's just sort of free and loose about it, and I think that's going to continue. So what you're going to see, Tavis, is both of these strategies are going to pay dividends for their respective combatants. And at the end of the day, I think they're both going to claim victory because they're both going to feel pretty good about their performance.
Yeah. Nicola Corte, it seems to me that the jury is still out. We'll see in a few hours. I'm not certain who is going to benefit most from these rule changes. And this is inside baseball. Of course, that's what you do in Washington every day. You are Mr. Inside Baseball when it comes to politics. So this question won't be too much for you to handle. But when you think about the arcane nature, although significant, of these rule changes, there is no audience. It's just the two of them, Jake and Dana Bash, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash on CNN. There is no live audience, off which Donald Trump certainly plays quite well. There are microphones now that can be shut off, cut off when your time is up, so that Donald Trump ostensibly, I'm not sure about this yet, I have to wait and see, because when your mic is off, you can still be heard. When your mic is off, you can still talk. I don't know how well that rule is going to work out, but there have been a number of rule changes about how this debate is being brought forth tonight. As you well know, the Presidential Debate Commission that usually oversees these things is not involved with this. So CNN and ABC and the next one are basically running their own game plan. But my question essentially is whether or not you think any of these rule changes in any way really benefit one guy or the other.
Well, there's one candidate that clearly has a knack for not following the rules, for skirting the rules. I don't see that changing with any one debate. I don't see that change. I don't see how that helps them. If Donald Trump has positioned himself as sort of the renegade candidate. He is above rules, and so I would actually be quite surprised. I think a number of people would be surprised if he actually follows the rules. Sources have told me that the folks over at CNN have done some scenario planning. In the event that folks don't stick to the rules, or in the event that maybe a candidate doesn't show up. Who knows? Anything can happen tonight, and I think that's part of the reason why a number of folks are going to tune in. But I think it's important that each candidate can be consistent throughout the night. I've referenced the Muhammad Ali-Joe Frazier fight for a reason, where a lot of people had reason to believe that Muhammad Ali was going to pull it off, right? And he kind of ran out of energy a little bit. He lost that consistency, and Joe Frazier won it, right? And so anything can happen tonight, but I think what people don't want to see, Tavis, is two grumpy old men on the stage. They don't want to see Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon duking it out on TV. I don't think anybody wins if we see that.
Yep. For you fight fans, I'll need to tell you this. Nicole, I was talking about that first Frazier-Ali fight. Frazier won that one, but that wasn't the end of the story. I digress on that point. Again, for you fight fans, you understand the point he was making. Nicole, let me ask you right quick. What it says to you. This is my word. I'm sure the president wouldn't appreciate this, with all due respect. I'm sorry, Mr. President. But what does it say to you about the level of desperation that Joe Biden feels, given these polls and studies and surveys, that he agreed to do this? Connie Rice, our regular contributor on this program, made a powerful point that I've been thinking about all week earlier on our show. And Connie's point was, if I were Joe Biden, I would never have taken the bait. I would not have agreed to debate Donald Trump anywhere at any time, as he's been baiting the president to do. Her rationale was, you are now a convicted felon. And a convicted felon has no business, no right even being considered as president of these United States. And I will not demean the dignity of this office to debate a convicted felon on 34 counts when it comes to the presidency. I just won't do it. And her argument was that he should not have agreed to do this. But on the other hand, as you well know, the president not only doing it, but he's doing it earlier than at any time ever in the history of our republic. And you and I both know why he's doing it, because he figures he needs to get on stage with this guy face to face to try to turn these poll numbers around. To his credit, the polls are, the numbers, the gap is in fact starting to shrink. Biden over the last few weeks has started to shrink that gap. But does it say anything about his level of frustration and desperation that he agreed to do this in the first place, Nicola?
I think it says something about the president and his team recognizing how much the media environment has changed, and how pervasive misinformation and disinformation is, and how entertaining former President Trump is. And I don't think the president could continue to sort of operate above the fray. I think he needs to get in the fray. I think he needs to establish that he's still got it. I think there are a lot of people out there that believe that the president in some ways is a shell of his old self. You see the former president poking fun at his age, at his cognitive ability. There are ads that are running right here in Atlanta, where I'm at today. There are ads that are running that are poking fun at the president, and also trying to scare people by suggesting that Vice President Harris is just waiting in the wings. But Tavis, let me just say, I saw this morning, the Biden-Harris campaign is kicking off debate day with a takeover of websites like BuzzFeed and USA Today, even CNN and Telemundo, the Grio, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, with ads that are making very clear the dangers of electing Trump to a second term. The USA Today buy also includes a full-page ad contrasting Donald Trump's record as a self-centered criminal to President Biden's record of fighting for the American people. And so he has got to leave that debate stage tonight having left an impression of a stark contrast between him and Trump. He's got to remind people, that he's steady Eddie, and the other guy is in it for himself, and he is chaos 2.0. And anything short of that, I think the president in his campaign will be in serious danger.
As you heard Nicola say, and I probably should have said it, jumped into this conversation so quickly, wanted to get his analysis. He is in Atlanta. The debate tonight is in the ATL. So when I say Dr. Cortez is our White House correspondent, he's our man on the ground in Atlanta tonight, where all of this is going down. Ruben Alvarez Jr., the flip side of that question, what does it say to you that Donald Trump kept begging the president to debate him anywhere, anytime, and that he too has agreed to engage in the earliest debate ever for two persons running for president, never mind the fact that neither is the official nominee of their party? That keeps cracking me up. Clearly they're presumptive nominees, but they ain't even been coordinated yet by their parties. That didn't happen until later this summer, and these guys are going at it anyway. What's that say about Trump's desire, his need to really get into on the debate stage this early in the process?
Well, it says a lot. First, I got to thank Dr. Cortez for saying that he's Joe Biden's steady Eddie. I've never heard that before. That gives a new spin on things for sure. I think the Democrats are likewise very worried about the fact that they have this 81-year-old candidate up on the stage when they have a really strong bench. They think of young governors, including people like Wes Moore in Maryland, and they're just anxious for this generation to leave the stage already. Same thing with the Republicans. Donald Trump is 78 years old. So I think if you don't want to hear from two grumpy old men, the parties would be wise not to nominate people who are 81 and 78, right? They put us here. They put us in this spot. That's what Trump wants. Trump is overconfident. Trump thinks that he can beat Joe Biden. Remember, he's had a long rest because he didn't participate in any of the GOP debates in the primary. And ultimately, he's chomping at the bit to try to do some damage to Joe Biden. That ultimately could work against him. He oftentimes loses these matchups. not because Joe Biden defeats him, but because Donald Trump is his own worst enemy and he defeats himself. I also think for people who are concerned about a second Trump presidency and who are really rooting for Joe Biden, they should not be happy with this rule change that was put in place by CNN. You know, where I used to work, it's a anti-Trump, pro-Biden liberal media outlet, and they thought they were doing Biden a favor by cutting off the mic, so to speak. But as you pointed out, you've been on stage many times, I don't want to see a scenario whereby Donald Trump heckles Joe Biden from the stage. We can't hear it at home, but Joe Biden hears it. It gets Biden off his game. Biden turns and responds to Trump. It doesn't make any sense to us at home as to what he's responding to, right? So Biden takes the hit. Trump just sort of says, I didn't say anything, and gets off scot-free. So I think that's a well-meaning gesture by Biden's friends at CNN that backfired.
To your point, and we'll talk about it more when we come forward here, just watching my time, Donald Trump did not, in fact, participate in any of those debates. There were far too many. I've said many times, this process for running for president is just too long for me. Other countries do it in a matter of weeks. We do it over 2 years. There's never a line between campaigning and governing. You're always campaigning. I digress on that for now. But to Ruben's point, which I take, sometimes when you rest, you rust. Look at the NBA Finals. Look at the Super Bowl. Not Super Bowl is a bad example, but you look at teams that have great records, and they miss the first or second round, then they come in a little bit later. Sometimes when you rest too long, you rust. Donald Trump has not debated anybody in quite a while. I think that might play into his performance tonight. More to cover with Ruben Navarrete Jr. and Dr. Nicolai Corte talking about the big debate tonight and a few other things we'll get to as we move through this hour on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish. Minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Boeing is facing sanctions for disclosing details of the investigation into the 737 MAX door panel that blew out during a flight in January. The National Transportation Safety Board said today that Boeing on Tuesday shared information that hadn't been cleared, violating an agreement with the regulator. Tennessee State University is naming a new interim president. Dr. Ronald Johnson will join the school on July 1st. Dr. Johnson, who is African American, has had a 2-decade-long educational career, playing a significant role at historically black universities, and has recently served as interim president at the University of Kentucky. Dr. Johnson will take over for former President Glenda Glover, who is retired. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It's day 2 of the NBA draft. The number one story in today's second round is which team will select Bronny James. 23 teams will have an opportunity to draft LeBron's son before the Lakers pick comes up at number 55. Will one of those 23 teams feel the need to select Bronny? If Bronny is still on the board at 55, will the Lakers take him to make his father happy? Or will the Lakers pass on Bronny to take a player they feel that can help them right away? Either way, the Lakers will have a lot of questions to answer regarding their decision on Bronny. Round 2 of the draft begins today at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Shohei Ohtani broke the Dodgers record for consecutive games with an RBI. Ohtani homered in the first inning last night against the White Sox in Chicago. The homer gave Ohtani an RBI in 10 straight games. The Angels swept the Oakland A's. The Angels improved to 15-25 at home. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is now celebrating 3 years of amplifying our voice and uplifting our community. We deeply appreciate your support of this radio station and will always do our level best to earn your support. Here's to many more years of loving and serving our community. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Grab a proper breakfast with Wendy's new $3 English muffin breakfast deal. Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Select a request English muffin deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders. Single item at regular price.
Happy anniversary, KBLA! KBLA Talk 1580 is now celebrating 3 years of amplifying our voice and uplifting our community. We deeply appreciate your support of this radio station and will always do our level best to earn your support. Here's to many more years of loving and serving our community. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Grid Alternatives is a nonprofit organization in Los Angeles. We serve communities who have been left out of the renewable energy sector. We provide free solar systems to our qualified homeowners and renters. We design and install the solar systems at no cost to you ever. Call today, 866-921-4696. Again, 866-921-4696. Or visit gridsolar.org. That's gridsolar.org. Don't be left out any longer.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you can receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Who do you trust to get at the truth? Tavis Smiley. That's who. The conversation continues right now.
I've got to be where you are. I want to be where you are. I've got to be where you are.
It's the best of Marvin Gaye, all 3 hours of our show today as we continue celebrating June as Black Music Month. What an amazing opportunity for us every day this month to pick up particular artists in all sorts of genres, jazz, R&B, hip-hop, blues, funk, soul. We've played a little bit of everything. Every day this month that I've been on the air, we call it our Artist in Residence. And so we pick an artist and we play the best of their stuff all 3 hours of our show. And today it is the one and only Marvin Gaye. We continue our conversation now about all things politics. Of course, the major political conversation today is the debate in Atlanta between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, the earliest debate ever in the history of this republic. Ruben Navarrete Jr. and Dr. Nicola Corte are our guests, and I'm pleased to have them both. I said moments ago, speaking of issues that may come up tonight, I don't know if climate will come up. We are in the midst of a 12-month, $2.5 million campaign on this show and at my station in L.A., KBLA Talk 1580, a major campaign, $2.5 million worth of campaign trying to raise the civic IQ of our community. There are a robust series of conversations. There are community events, just a real aggressive campaign trying to raise this issue higher on the American agenda, particularly for African Americans. Why? Glad you asked. Because we are the disproportionate victims of these climate catastrophes, these crises, these maladies, and yet we've been far too silent in this conversation, even though we, black folk, brown folk, poor folk, are the victims of these crises. And so we've been aggressively and will continue to be aggressive over this 12-month campaign about the issue of climate. I said earlier that the Supreme Court gave the president a major blow today, pushing back on his policy regarding air pollution. Nicola Corte, what do you know about that part, as they say?
Well, Tavis, as I was in transit to Atlanta this morning, I had a chance to hear from EPA spokesperson Remington Belford, who shared with me a statement on behalf of the EPA, where he says the EPA is disappointed in today's ruling, which will postpone the benefits that the Good Neighbor Plan is already achieving in many states and communities. The agency believes that the Good Neighbor Plan is firmly grounded in its Clean Air Act authority and looks forward to defending the merits of what they believe is a vital public health protection before the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. The Good Neighbor Plan is essential to ensure that states satisfy their responsibility under the Clean Air Act to address pollution that significantly contributes to unhealthy levels of ground-level ozone or smog in other states. And the country is in the middle of the summer ozone season, which runs from May 1st to September 30th. And so exposure to ground-level ozone could cause respiratory issues and aggravated asthma and other lung diseases, and lead to missed days of work or school and emergency room visits and even premature death. And so the EPA is going to continue to take this fight through the courts. They're going to see it through. They see this as a setback, but they don't intend to sit back and let this happen. They're going to fight.
This case was brought by 3 states in our country. Speaking of the Good Neighbor Plan, let me unpack that a bit more for you in 30 seconds. 3 states challenged the administration's Good Neighbor Plan, which is meant to protect downwind states from harmful emissions. So there are some states that are just worse polluters than others. And when those emissions go up in the air, that downwind flow, if you will, pushes these emissions into other states. And so the Biden administration put forth a pretty aggressive and thoughtful plan, I thought, about how to address that particular issue. And here's the real rub here. In case you're missing this, again, I always feel the need to slow down just a second to explain to people why climate needs to matter to our community. That's why we did 3 hours on C-SPAN last week talking about this with black people. The country had never seen that because these issues matter to us as well. But why does the air pollution issue matter? Because the people that suck down, that breathe in the dirtiest, nastiest air happen to be, guess who? People of color and poor people, because we live too close to these toxic dumps. We live too close to these waste sites. We live too close to these polluters and put these manufacturers putting emissions up in the air. We're the ones that live by these freeways. Ain't no freeways running through the wealthiest parts of America, not through Beverly Hills, not through parts of Connecticut. In the wealthiest parts, not in Atlanta, in the wealthiest parts of any city in this country, you don't have freeways running through. They design it that way. But who lives next to these freeways? Who lives, frankly, these days, homelessness under these freeways? People of color and the poor are the ones. I live in L.A. I'm sitting in L.A. right now. All these freeways, all of these emissions going up in the air. It's people of color and poor people who live adjacent to all these emissions being released in the air. And so we're the ones who get the worst health consequences because of air pollution. In Harlem, listen to this, in Harlem, 1 out of every 3 black children has asthma. 1 out of every 3 has asthma in Harlem. They can't breathe at 5, 6, 7 years of age because of the proximity to these emissions going up in the air to Harlem. And so these issues are real, and I know they're not sexy and they're not fun to talk about, but when you see Supreme Court decisions like this pushing back on good air pollution policy, you're the ones, you're the ones being impacted by these decisions, and that's why we raise these issues and talk about them on this particular program. Ruben, that said, are there any particular issues that you think ought to come up tonight that might not come up tonight? I can't imagine that one of the issues that matters most to you, immigration, is not going to be on the docket. But if it does come up, what do you expect to hear tonight on immigration?
So, one of the sad things about our politics is the politicians are so predictable. Joe Biden's going to talk about abortion. where he has an upper hand over Republicans. Donald Trump's going to come back, talk about immigration, where he thinks Republicans have an upper hand over Democrats. And if immigration comes up, and it will, expect Biden to try to cut off the ring, to use a boxing metaphor. Cut off the ring for Trump and say, basically, look, have you not been paying attention? I just issued an executive order that basically copied your own immigration approach to the point where the ACLU that sued you is now preparing to sue me. Now, this isn't good news to folks who call themselves progressives, because the candidate who they're supporting in this election, Joe Biden, looks a lot like Donald Trump on immigration. There's very little daylight between the two. But that has been his strategy. He wants to be able to say to Donald Trump, look, you can't turn me into a cartoon figure, a caricature. I'm not for an open border. Look, I just all but did away with asylum. You know, people can't even apply for asylum anymore in Joe Biden's America. It'll be a sad thing to watch for progressives, but it may just be effective in terms of shutting something.
Nicolai, in terms of issues, are there issues that you particularly are covering on your program, covering at the White House, that you hope that they will get into tonight, whether they do or not? But it's on your list of things you want them to talk about.
Well, I mean, I think issues related to civil and human rights more broadly. We know that June, in addition to being Black Music Month, is also Pride Month. I was just at the White House yesterday for their Pride Month celebration, led by our First Lady. I think there is a lot of discomfort. You know, there's a feeling that we are passing down less rights to the next generation as opposed to more rights. And so we can, spin the wheel, whether you're talking about the impact of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, you're talking about, some of the efforts to hollow out some of the LGBTQ rights protections that have been won. And Tavis, let me just remind you and our listeners that, we still haven't passed the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. We still haven't passed that. We still haven't passed the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. And so there's so much that's important to not just Democrats, but to reasonable folks across the political spectrum, Democrats, independents, and even some very, very moderate Republicans. There are issues out there that they support that have not gotten their vote, hasn't gotten the proper vote in Congress, and will not unless the fundamentals of who sits in power changes in November. And so I think we can expect President Biden to remind folks, that so much of what he wanted to do was blocked by Republicans, at the request of former President Trump.
I asked earlier in this conversation whether or not this debate today could possibly live up to all the hype that we've been getting about it. When we come forward, I'll ask this question, which is whether or not Nicolai, Cortez, or Ruben Alvarez Jr. believe that tonight will ultimately, wait for it, will it make a difference at all? With all the hype, will this debate tonight make any difference whatsoever? If you consider that nothing Biden is going to say is going to turn people away from him, his supporters, that is. They're with him, even though he's 81. They're with him versus the alternative. The MAGA supporters of Trump, they're not going to be deterred or swayed tonight by this. Those double haters that hate both Trump and Biden, maybe they will see something tonight. We'll talk about that when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number and put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement. Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
We must understand the politics of our community, and we must know what part politics play in our lives.
Questions about black voters, their disengagement, lack of information, and support or lack thereof for Democratic candidates have once again taken center stage as Democrats, Republicans, and independent candidates compete for this critical voting bloc. Will black voters abandon Democrats in this election, move historic numbers of votes toward the Republican nominee, or will they continue a decades-long trend of overperforming for Democratic candidates up and down the ballot? The stakes have never been higher for black America. Tune in to KBLA's new show, The Black Pack, hosted by veteran political strategist Adrian Shropshire, every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. for a breakdown of the issues, rhetoric, polling, and more this election year. It's The Black Pack with Adrian Shropshire, Fridays from 4 to 6 p.m. exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemath.org.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelinos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
Smart talk for curious people just like you. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Nee Cortez, our White House correspondent, who's in Atlanta right now, where this big debate is taking place today, and our friend and brother, our regular contributor on this program, Ruben Navarrete Jr. Ruben, I'm watching. My time is getting real tight. Let me ask you this specifically. There's a lot of bad blood over the years between Donald Trump and CNN. I mean, a lot of bad blood. I've got money that at some point tonight, Donald Trump, in their face, on their network, goes in on CNN. I'm waiting for it. I got money. He's going to find a way to go in on CNN while he's on CNN. What say you? Am I off base here, or am I spot on?
No, you're spot on. My Substack for this morning talks about it's always about journalism and media on Wednesdays, and it talks about the sad history between CNN and Donald Trump, the war they declared on each other. The problem CNN had is when he engaged them, they engaged him back. So it made it very difficult to say they were being objective because they took all of his criticisms of Jeff Zucker, who both you and I know, the former president of CNN. They were very defensive about him, protective of him, and we saw Trump attack him and CNN. People like Jake Tapper really wore their heart on their sleeves, and ultimately now here we are. So I expect Trump to go after CNN. And maybe this is why Tavis, in his own cynical, twisted mind, maybe this is why he accepted the invitation.
Yeah.
He's not afraid of CNN. He wants to somehow call them out on their own air and put them in a defensive position where they're just going to get in mud with him, and that would be a losing position for CNN.
No, he knows. He absolutely knows. He absolutely knows how to. He knows how to pick a spot. He calculates better than anybody I know. It's sinister, but he knows how to calculate. And if you consider who Donald Trump's audience is, who his supporters are, they would love nothing more than to watch him go in on CNN tonight. And I got money, it's going to happen. I'm watching just for that reason, to watch what he does to CNN, how he excoriates them, and how Jake and Dan have handled that. And you got to know, Jake is no spring chicken. He's at this for a long time. I know he and Dan are both very well to the point that the Cordelai made earlier. They've been gaming this out. So they have to know that Donald Trump may slap them across the face tonight, not literally. He's going to hit them tonight, and we'll see how they respond when he does. In our remaining moments with Ruben Alvarez Jr. and Cordelai Corte, when we come forward, I'll ask them, when all is said and done tonight, whether more will have been said than done, will it make any difference at all? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Strong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell her 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
The dilation drops.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit-sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Let's get back to more Tavis Smiley right now.
More of Dr. Cordelai Corte, our White House correspondent at my home station in L.A., who is now in Atlanta, where all is going down tonight on the stage, where Donald Trump and Joe Biden will get at it for the first time in this presidential election cycle. When all is said and done, the Cordelai Corte, is tonight going to make a difference at all, never mind all the hype?
Tavis, I think it could make a difference, but it depends on how folks show up and how they engage. I can tell you right now, Tavis, on the ground here in Atlanta, the Biden-Harris 2024 campaign is projecting this QR code on billboards and sidewalks and buildings that voters can scan and learn about Project 2025. And for folks who are less familiar, Trump and a lot of his allies, have really constructed what people are calling a very dangerous plan that would give him more power over Americans' everyday lives if he wins, from issues like banning abortion nationwide to slashing Social Security, and so much more. Project 2025, it's an agenda that would be a disaster, and the president and his campaign believe that the American people deserve to read about it. And so I would imagine the president is going to seize the opportunity to draw attention to Project 2025, which for insiders, insiders have been paying attention to it and, terrified of what's in it. But I think the general public doesn't have a clue. And one of the things you mentioned earlier, Tavis, was the fact that, former President Trump has not been on any debate stage in such a long time. A lot of people don't know what his positions are. They just know what his reaction is and what he doesn't support based upon what President Biden and the current White House are doing. But nobody knows in the affirmative, what he intends to do. Well, in this plan, I would imagine the President Biden, a win for him is making sure that there's an uptick in interest in what's in that plan.
Well, we discussed it on this program some days ago, and we'll come back to it again. It is pretty scary when you get inside the details of this Project 2025. If you don't know anything about it, just Google it. Google Project 2025. Read it for yourself. I got less than 2 minutes left. Ruben Navarrete, I give it to you. Will tonight ultimately make any difference one way or the other?
Tavis, first of all, it really depends on who it's going to make a difference for, which segment of voters. And let me explain that. But first, one of the things, as someone who's a never Trumper, it really is sad to see that the Democrats and Biden himself have such a weak hand coming up into this election, that the strongest card they can play is to further demonize Donald Trump. I don't think it's possible for me to have a lower opinion of Donald Trump or be more fearful, but that's not what turns out people in elections. You got to give them something to be hopeful about. You got to give them something to feel positive about, and unfortunately, Democrats are lacking in that regard. When I said before that it depends on which segment of voters we're talking about, I mean this. In the black and brown communities, you have those Democrats who are going to fall in line behind Joe Biden no matter what, and they're solid and they're not going to go anywhere. You have another group of the double haters, as you said. You'll find me, people like Charlamagne the God in there, and others who don't like either of these two candidates, and I'm a double hater. And so we're not really in play. But there's a third group that is in play. And those are people who kind of like Biden. They're not really inspired by him, but they really don't want Trump. Biden has to turn those folks out. Those folks are not going to vote for Donald Trump, but they may not vote at all.
Yeah.
Or they may vote third party for Robert Kennedy. So it's really that third group that this debate has to focus on. The campaign is going to be focused on them until November.
Yeah.
How does Biden excite his voters? And frankly, I think he's going to have to do a much better job than just putting out the idea that Donald Trump is the devil. I know that already.
Yeah,
there is something I don't know.
Yeah, tell you something you don't know. There is an enthusiasm gap. There's no question about that, and we'll see if the president can shrink that, can close that enthusiasm gap with the performance tonight. Everybody keeps saying the same thing, and I think they're right. If he can do what he did, he can do tonight what he did at the State of the Union, he'll be okay. Of course, the State of the Union, you're being heckled, but you're not having anybody in your face for 90 minutes. So we'll see. We'll leave it there for now. Ruben Navarrete Jr., thank you for your insights. Dr. Nicola Corte, thank you for being in Atlanta. Thank you for your insights. We look forward to seeing what happens tonight on the debate stage in Atlanta. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Archaeologists at the University of New Hampshire, along with a historian at Northeastern University, say they have unearthed the long-lost homestead of King Pompey. Pompey was an enslaved African who won his freedom, later becoming one of the first black property owners in colonial New England. Researchers have long sought to discover the location of his home. They say they hope to eventually work with the National Park Service to establish a historical marker about King Pompey. Funding was provided by the New England Humanities Consortium and Northeastern University. Tampa, Florida officials won't abandon plans to get state funding for an arts venue. Governor Ron DeSantis vetoed funding for an amphitheater at Perry Harvey Park in the city's Central Avenue Business District. The area is significant for African Americans because it was where many newly freed slaves lived. Tampa State Rep. Diane Hart says she'll file another request for state funding. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Enjoy the rest of your night and please travel home safe. Big alert in San Dimas involving a stalled Bridge remains in two right lanes of the 210 east before San Dimas Avenue. Stop traffic continues from Lone Hill Avenue and overall heavy traffic continues from Graham. In Pomona, accidents being cleared from the 71 south after Holt Avenue and Valley Boulevard split. Highway 138 Avenue D interchange between 60th Street and 72nd Street East remains closed due to the Columbia fire, which has stopped with no evacuations that have been reported and only 300 acres actually burned. And back in Yorba Linda, an accident remains on the right shoulder of the 91 East after Gibson Kinney Road. Overall drive remains heavy over 35 minutes from Framer Boulevard, Glassell Street interchange.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It's day 2 of the NBA draft. The number one story in today's second round is which team will select Bronny James. 23 teams will have an opportunity to draft LeBron's son before the Lakers pick comes up at number 55. Will one of those 23 teams feel the need to select Bronny? If Bronny is still on the board at 55, will the Lakers take him to make his father happy? Or will the Lakers pass on Bronny to take a player they they feel that can help them right away. Either way, the Lakers will have a lot of questions to answer regarding their decision on Bronny. Round 2 of the draft begins today at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Shohei Ohtani broke the Dodgers record for consecutive games with an RBI. Ohtani homered in the first inning last night against the White Sox in Chicago. The homer gave Ohtani an RBI in 10 straight games. The Angels swept the Oakland A's. The Angels improved to 15-25 at home. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.